So good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Namaste. I am Daksh, the founder of Blub World. A very warm welcome to all of you to the Blub World Web Talks 144th episode. In the last 143 episodes, we have talked to, interacted with, understood a lot of education innovations from more than 2,500 school leaders from across the world. पिछले 143 एपिसोड्स में हमने करीबन 2,500 स्कूल प्रिंसिपल से, टीचर से जानने की कोशिश करी कि वो शिक्षा में क्या नया कर रहे हैं या क्या ऐसा कर रहे हैं जो कि दूसरे उनसे सीख सकते हैं। तो आज के 144वें एपिसोड में we'll again try to know from them that how are the expectations changing from higher education। अभी तक उच्च शिक्षा हमारे लिए जिंदगी का एक फेज होता था कि साहब स्कूल खत्म होगा, कॉलेज शुरू होगा और उसके बाद हम नौकरी में चले जाएंगे। लेकिन ये फेज, जिंदगी के सारे फेज डिस्टर्ब हो गए हैं। अब हमें ये समझना मुश्किल है कि पढ़ाई कब शुरू हो रही है और कब खत्म, क्योंकि जिंदगी भर अपस्किलिंग करनी है, जिंदगी भर अपना अपग्रेडेशन करना है और वो इतना ज्यादा टायरिंग हो गया है कि अब हमें नहीं पता कि शिक्षा सच में कहीं खत्म होगी क्या कोई फेजेस इसके होंगे या द काइंड ऑफ एक्सपेक्टेशंस दैट वी रियली होल्ड फ्रॉम हायर एजुकेशन। बिकॉज आई थिंक हायर एजुकेशन नाउ is something that we should consider as a breakfast every now and then. It's not a 5-course meal that you need to take in one go. I think it's something that will continue whenever you change a career, because we're all hoping and we're all seeing that we'll all be having a multi-career life. With so many new things happening and so many new things going to happen, let's try to understand from educationists, school leaders, how do they think the expectation from higher education is changing. आज आपसे थोड़ी सी भविष्यवाणी, थोड़ा सा एक्सपीरियंस, थोड़ी सी समझदारी और बहुत सारा विजडम लेने की कोशिश करेंगे अगले 60 मिनटों में। बिफोर वी स्टार्ट दिस कॉल, एज वी डू इट इन एवरी Blub World Web Talks, this is a bilingual platform. You can use English or Hindi, any of the two languages. Try sticking to these two. If you use a third one, I might not get it, but you can still use it. Most importantly, this is a timed platform. This is not a speaking marathon, it's a speaking sprint. 100 मीटर की रेस है, तो आपका जब बोलने का समय खत्म होगा, you might get muted. If you get muted, please don't get offended. It is just to finish this activity on time. Most importantly, if you lose something, if you're not able to speak it out during the first course of it, we'll have an open floor when you can put your thoughts out there. Thank you so much everyone for joining in. Once again, a very warm welcome to all of you to the Blub World Web Talks 144th episode. Let me now invite the first speaker for today to initiate this talk. He'll be adding the higher education perspective, or typically set the ball rolling for today's discussion. A very warm welcome to Professor Mike Knowles, the Professor Emeritus for School of Creativity at the University of Arts, London. Professor Mike, over to you for the next 5 minutes to set the ball rolling on changing expectations from higher education. A very warm welcome.
Thank you, Dutch. I think I'm going to win this race. I'll tell you why. Because at my age, doing marathons and running long races is not good. But the truth is, there's not a lot to say because it's so simple. We've been living through a very, very complicated time. We've been living through a tremendously complicated time. And as human beings always manage to do somewhere down the line, we're getting through it. We're getting through it tremendously. And fortunately, and I can see, as you probably all know, that I'm in London at the moment. So I usually am in India, but because of the pandemic, it's been a strange time. But fortunately, during this weird time, we've learned a lot. We've learned a lot. And I believe we have become much more simple people because of what's been going on. And that leads back to changing expectations from our students. As educationists and all the people that I've worked with over the last many years in India, great educationists, fabulous educationists, that put children first, the youngsters, the students first. Their success is everything. So the expectation that students have had forever is they want to succeed. And we want to help them succeed. We want to really get them in the right, and we do make them succeed. What do they need from us now? More than anything, I believe that they need us to be prophets, to be fortune tellers, to be soothsayers, Because in this world of magnificent, and it is magnificent change, just what's going to be the status quo in 2 years, 5 years, 15 years? We're not overly sure of. But one thing that the pandemic has given us, with the solutions that have come to the pandemic, is the knowledge, the sure knowledge that AI, artificial intelligence, robotics, etc., the power of this magnificent opportunity that we all have to have this strength on our side is there. It's there and it's strong. So our youngsters want us to help us understand. The expectation from us is help us understand what this is all about. And then at the same time, help us to become the people who can work with AI, who can work with this. I've always said to everybody, AI is the genie in Aladdin's lamp. I've always used that expression, and it seems to be understood. We'd all like that lamp. We'd all like to be able to have the power of that genie. Well, we have the power of that genie. And it's getting faster and faster and faster and faster. It's amazing what's happening. So the expectations from our students is that we will help them manage the power of the genie, and also help them show them one thing. AI will not take over the world. AI will not become an evil and powerful and dominant master that will destroy us. The reason? AI is not creative. AI feeds on the billions and billions and billions of megabytes, gigabytes, whatever, that the human mind, that human researchers, scientists, engineers discover through their human creativity. We feed that into AI, and then AI can use that information that's been given to it. It can use that information in a massive and wonderfully powerful way. But AI is not creative. AI has no ideas of its own. And I've had conversations with some very eminent people about this. And I think the consensus of opinion is that fact. So the expectation for us in higher education is, from our students, is to help us be comfortable with AI and help us to manage it absolutely properly. Have I won the race? Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Mike. You absolutely won the race. And I think you've set the ball rolling in the very right direction, that humans will adapt. Expectation is success. And for success right now, what we all know, the genie is actually AI and machine learning. And the way you termed it, that AI is not going to be that evil that has been portrayed across cinema, across the globe for so many, movie creations or features. It's going to be somebody that will be helping us, because it's not creative. Because the only thing that AI or machine learning does not know right now is to imagine things that could happen. What it can do is only work on past trends and past data. It cannot imagine the future. And I think nearly 150,000 years back was the time when humans realized that they could imagine, because that's the first transcription that historians found that's still available on a stone, when it was a figure of a human body and the head of a lion. So since then, from history, we transitioned into culture. And that's where I think we'll always have an advantage over AI and machine learning. We need to understand and rather build this thing or this aspect or this skill very, very carefully, that let's make people much more creative. Now, when this comes into the discussion, there's a very important observation that also comes with it, that are we only looking for entrepreneurs in employment or entrepreneurs in employment, or is there any other sort of employment still available when technology takes over the world? So let me invite the next speaker for today. So the next section or the next lineup of speakers is school leaders who are typically fighting it out every day to take those classes with those students online, and most importantly, उनके सारे tantrums manage करते हुए उन्हें पढ़ाते हुए और अब उनके शायद पेरेंट्स के भी टैंट्रम्स मैनेज करते हुए on an online call. So let me invite the next speaker for today, Mrs. Ruchika Sukhija, Principal, Mahavir Senior Model School from Delhi. Ruchika ma'am, over to you for the next 3 minutes. Please unmute your audio and a very warm welcome.
A very good evening to everyone. I completely agree with what sir said. I would also like to add that education was never a static process. It has always been a dynamic one. So when we say that, yes, expectations are changing now, I think the expectations have always been changing. But yes, in this unprecedented times, of course, it is very apt that the expectations are changing from the root level to the higher education. What I feel is that gone are the days of only academic vigor. Now, I think we are looking at holistic excellence. We are looking at excellence of skills. We are looking at excellence of adaptation. We are looking at excellence of creativity. We are talking about out-of-box thinking. As far as changes are concerned, I feel that some of the changes, yes, we are already introducing. In several levels, we have introduced internship, both at the school level as well as college level. So children are getting practical knowledge of several things. For example, when we do English honors, when the students now go for English honors, they do something kind of content writing, they get associated with the publishing house, they get associated with the blogger and so on. But I think this is just the beginning. We have a very long way to go. Sir talked about AI. I feel, yes, it is also a part of the adaptation. What we need to now teach children, according to me, is collaboration. I feel collaboration is the future. If we have to make them life ready, if we have to actually meet the demands of the industry ahead, we have to teach them collaboration. So what we are not doing right now is we are not telling them how to create jobs. We are not telling them, as you talked about creativity, we are not talking about creating ideas. We are not talking about new ventures. Our education, I feel, is still not research oriented. I feel that if we include a few more changes, we will be able to make children feel confident to enter the professional world. Just one last thing, since I am myself an English teacher, on a personal level, I feel that the writing skills, presentation skills, a lot of ground level skills, softer skills, interpersonal skills, teamwork, etc. These are very much required. Somehow these get neglected throughout the curriculum. But my co-educators would actually agree with me that when we are actually selecting a teacher also, it becomes sometimes a Herculean task, because the teachers who are postgraduate also, so they had a good academic rigor, but they are not able to express themselves in 2 lines. So what kind of connect are they going to develop with the children later on? So I think it is not only the curriculum that needs to be changed, which is now being currently changed, but also how it is transacted. That needs to be looked into, and it must change with time. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Ruchika ma'am. To summarize what you said, आपने कुछ अच्छे points add कर दिए. Expectations are changing dramatically. इतना pace of change नहीं था expectations का, वो धीरे-धीरे evolve करते थे, but evolution अभी एकदम से तेजी से हो गया. Holistic excellence, we are actually looking at a person now as an all-rounder. Now we are not looking at them just for the sake of marks or the numbers that they get, because अभी तक हमारी पूरी education कहीं ना कहीं mathematics की तरफ skewed थी. कि अगर नंबर्स मैथ्स में अच्छे हैं तो बच्चा अच्छा है, नहीं तो बेकार हो जाता था, एंड सॉफ्ट स्किल्स क्रिटिकल नहीं होती थी. और अब कहीं ना कहीं दैट व्हील हैज टर्न्ड द कंप्लीट सर्कल एंड सॉफ्ट स्किल्स हैव बिकम इंपॉर्टेंट अगेन. कहीं ना कहीं उसकी अंडरस्टैंडिंग, कहीं ना कहीं उसका विजडम अगेन क्रिटिकल हो गया है. Collaboration will be a very, very important skill, because I think that's where humans will find their next solace. क्योंकि अगर हमें टीम बिल्डिंग आ गई तभी हम टेक्नोलॉजी से थोड़े से आगे बढ़ेंगे, नहीं तो हम हर बार टेक्नोलॉजी से हार जाएंगे. We are not research oriented, and abhi ke liye, when we look at our ecosystems of teachers and the different stakeholders, the biggest challenge that we face, we get bottom of the pyramid talent. So how do we again typically regain the aspiration within the teaching career? That's something that will define the kind of people that we get and the kind of syllabus or curriculum transaction that we do, that we were talking about. Thank you so much, Ruchika ma'am. Let me invite the next speaker for today, Mrs. Meenakshi Bhakuni, Principal GD Goenka Public School from Vasant Kunj, New Delhi. I hope I pronounced it right. Meenakshi ma'am, over to you for the next 3 minutes. Please unmute your audio and a very warm welcome.
That's Bhakuni. It's a Kumaoni surname. All right. I think the tempo has been set very rightly. And what I would like to add is definitely soft skills are very important. And team building, we have already talked about. But I think the kind of space that we're working in now, it is the virtual teams that are going to be in place. So, the teams are going to be beyond the geographic boundaries. They're going to be in different age groups and everything. And the children have to learn to be able to work in teams. I mean, we already have multinationals working like that. One office is here, one office is in Faridabad, one office is in Vancouver, and people are connecting and working together. So it's not just teams that are working together as human beings geographically in the same place, but it's the virtual teams spread over all over the world, and they have to collaborate and work together in sync in different time zones. So you have to challenge yourself physically, you have to challenge yourself in so many ways. So that's one skill that I really see the higher education has to cater to. And to my mind, collaboration definitely is what is required. But more important than that, I think, is, we are living in this world of fear. So whether we talk about the fear of COVID or we talk about any other fear, it's a fear that brings us down. So when we are collaborating and we are synergizing, in case we can put our fears aside and think of, together creating a unit that can win over, like you rightly said, that unless we do that correctly, we'll be always behind IT and we'll be chasing it. So it's not the technology that needs to be chasing us, we need to be leading it. So to be able to do that, the fear of the unknown, the fear of death, which is the ultimate, the fear of losing the dear ones that we have faced in the times of COVID, all these fears we have to learn how to overcome. And I think that's a very, very important skill that I think that we all need to know, because best of the people have, I've seen them succumb under pressure. That's one thing that I'm really hoping that the higher education somehow leads us to look into. And I think, the changing times are making a person more lonely, physically speaking. So you're spending so much of time together. I remember once I was reading some book by Krishnamurti, and one of the opening lines were that the right person is the one who knows how to be comfortable with one's own self. And majority of times, even when we are alone, we are not with ourselves. Our thoughts are somewhere else. We switch on music, we switch on television, we switch on other things, so that, the opportunity that we get of reflecting, of introspecting, that gets lost. Because somewhere to introspect, to reflect on how the day went, how our thoughts were, how our actions were, this is something which is most crucial. We are already talking about this at the school level, that at the end of the day,
Meenakshi ma'am, the 3 minutes were over, but you're talking some amazing points. We'll try to get back to you again in once it's an open floor, but some amazing points. Let me summarize them. That teams beyond boundaries, I think this is something very important, because we typically do not know how to be a global citizen, how to talk to people from different cultures, and finally how to work with them. Talking to them is one level of it, and working with them is at an absolutely altered level of it. Finally, trying to deal with fear and then synergizing. The biggest challenge that we as a society, and when we talk of India specifically, face is we are very competitive people. We normally do not like to collaborate. So as a society, as a community, we need to learn to fight that fear and finally start collaborating, going to the next level. Being comfortable with one's own self and introspection being lost. I think here is where the concept of Socratic discussion again comes or becomes relevant. What Socrates said, that keep having a lot of discussions with yourself. And that's where you'll find the next, stage of life, or the next level of achievement that you want to do in your life. And I think, again, that would get very, very important, because when we talk of Indian civilization, हम लोगों के लिए एक पोर्शन होता है बातचीत करना, अगला उसका स्टेप होता है चिंतन करना, एंड उससे अगला स्टेप होता है मनन करना. लेकिन हम मनन तक पहुंचते ही नहीं है, हम लोग बातचीत पे ही खत्म हो जाते हैं. So I think we'll have to go to that level, because when we talk of the Gurukul form of education, that's what typically happened. It was one shloka for one day, and the whole day was just for manan, introspection, understanding, thinking on it. How do you put it into your life? That was what it was all about. So teaching was a minimal part of the curriculum. Understanding was a bigger part of it. And I think we need to redesign our curriculums according to that. So thank you so much, Meenakshi ma'am. Let me invite the next speaker for today. Mr. Sanjay Yadav, Principal, Alcon International School from Delhi. Sanjay ji, over to you for the next 3 minutes. Please unmute your video.
Thank you, Daksh. So, great beginning, of course. Few points which I would like to begin. Are we talking about, as you said, that we need to have some kind of predictions? So are we looking at living in the age of fourth industrial revolution? How are we preparing our children for social revolution? We have seen the power of technology. We have seen there is no denying that, yes, it is integrated, yet we have such a big digital divide. So how are we preparing ourselves for meeting that challenge? Are we preparing children for job creation so that they are able to take the lead? And then that is where what comes is self-learning. We have always believed in the power of learning to learn. It's even the art of learning has to change from time to time. And that is what is happening in the current times. So when we are looking at rapid variation, it reminds me of the physics phrase or chemistry we hear about half-life, that yes, the changes are happening at such a faster pace, and the time available for the next step to take is going to be even half of the previous. This is just a phrase to compare with, but that rapid progress will keep happening, and there will come a time where we won't even have much of a time to react. And then how do we prepare our children to deal with life and the challenges of life at that time? So here the core values which will remain, like I was talking about social revolution, the generation ahead, when they will be working, they are their own masters in terms of their own thinking and in terms of their own working pattern or learning pattern. So they have to start building on social emotional connect. And social emotional connect, which we call it as SEL, is what is giving them the emotional support. If today we are getting bombarded with the overdose of technology and learning through technology, no one is going to feel tired, because if we start looking at it as a way and means of connecting with people, when you can't meet physically, here is an alternative which is allowing you to express yourself, which is allowing you to nurture your senses, the human senses. So this is how you will be able to build the world in which we are going to live tomorrow. Unfortunately, if today we are facing challenges due to our past activities, so what should people do? How do we incorporate those changes and make the world ready for at least a decent living? Because at the moment, even the challenge of decent living has come into it. So this is where we have to talk about sustainable development goals. And yes, the joy, which is what has been the prime focus when NEP has talked about integrating art. It has talked about integrating sport. It has talked about integrating technology. These are the three integrations which has primarily come out through NEP. So we have to start building our own consciences. And of course, the term which emerges, be it part of SDGs or otherwise, is the collaboration. So it's not that what are our best practices and are we only doing it, but rather we should ride on everybody's.
Thank you so much, Sanjay sir. The 3 minutes were over. So to summarize the points you said, I think एक comparison आपने बहुत ही अच्छा किया, which is kind of a paradox and an irony at the same time, कि हम लोग फोर्थ इंडस्ट्रियल रेवोल्यूशन के लिए तो तैयार हो गए, लेकिन वो जो इतना बड़ा सोशल रेवोल्यूशन हमारे ऊपर मर दिया गया है, हम उसके लिए तैयार नहीं हुए हैं. एंड हाउ आर वी गोइंग टू डील विद इट? बिकॉज अगर अभी आज की तारीख में आप अपनी जिंदगियों की ट्रैजेक्टरी देखें, तो यू हैड अ ट्रैजेक्टरी दैट यू कुड अंडरस्टैंड कि okay, this is the way I have to do a job, this is the way I have to save, and that's will be my retirement life. But if you imagine the kind of professional lives that these children will have, तो वो ट्रैजेक्टरी बन ही नहीं पा रही. वो ऐसी ड्राइंग है जिसकी लाइन पूरी नहीं हो रही, जो कि आपने कहा दैट हाफ लाइफ मेजरमेंट कि कितना जल्दी चेंज हो जाएगा, उसका पेस नापना भी बहुत मुश्किल होगा. द नेक्स्ट पॉइंट्स दैट यू सेड, लर्निंग टू लर्न. हमें अब ये नहीं सीखना है कि कंटेंट क्या है, हमें ये सीखना है कि हमें सीखना कैसे है. Because if you know the process of learning and how do you grasp content, how do you convert it into your knowledge and finally into wisdom, this is the process that we need to understand rather than the content or the curriculum of it. Because you'll have to learn a lot because things are changing at quite a fast pace. Preparing the world for a decent living standard. I think this is a question that we all need to answer, even when we talk of SDGs, even when we talk of United Nations and so many organizations right now talking about the way industry, the way professions are evolving. What do we consider a decent standard of living? Because at the moment affordability has gone for a toss and all the standards of decency do not seem to work. because that's the way jobs, that's the way economies, and that's the way markets have absolutely downgraded themselves during the last 1 or 2 years that we have seen. And the kind of recovery that we see is not very promising as of now, but we hope that it happens and it's much more progressive in the coming days. Thank you so much, Sanjay ji. Let me invite the next speaker for today, Mrs. Seema Jairaj, Principal of DLF Public School from Ghaziabad, Uttar Pradesh. Seema ma'am, over to you for the next 3 minutes. Please unmute your audio and a very warm welcome.
Good evening and thank you for having me over. I'll sprint straight to the topic. You'll all agree with me that we live in a VUCA world, a volatile, uncertain, complex, ambiguous world. A world that is liable to sudden change, that is forever in a state of flux. And the most recent example is the ongoing pandemic that changed our world in the blink of an eye. Every school leader sitting here has adapted. Teachers embraced technology to reach out to their students, and we all began online classes. Now, one expectation that arises from this situation is that universities will now have online campuses with online classes in addition to the brick and mortar ones. Higher education must capitalize on this death of distance. A student sitting in Zambia must be able to learn from a teacher in India. And Professor Mike Knowles here should be able to reach and teach students sitting in Australia. I'm probably talking about a revolution through evolution. And this new avatar of universities will probably develop with time, beginning with, let's say, hybrid classes. But one thing is for sure, that higher education institutes need to invest in digital strategies and technology to remain agile, resilient, and relevant. They also need to bring in corresponding pedagogical changes to adapt to online classes. And more particularly those who are teaching design, engineering, science, or subjects that have a larger practical component. I have students studying in the most prestigious engineering and management colleges who have shared that they only have lecture style teaching. And I happened to actually visit an online class of one of the best design colleges of the country. And that too was totally lecture based. And thus this expectation. Higher education also needs to urgently address this education industry disconnect. Today, there is a mismatch between the education provided to learners and what the job market needs. So this alignment is required. Learners need exposure to the real world of work. Internships and on-the-job trainings have started, but they must become more actively a part of higher education. I would even recommend experiential learning programs where universities reach out to companies asking for live projects, a real problem to solve, and learners work on these projects. Learners pick up the problem solving skills, and at the same time, the companies can get their work done. A win-win situation, I call it. Another expectation would be for higher education institutes to not just empower students to learn and earn, but also embed in them the desire to return. Giving must become a habit. Students must grow from becoming takers to becoming givers and contributors. So every student who steps out of the university must understand that they have to make a difference to the larger world and be useful to other people. I can go on with expectations because there's never a stop to them, but I think the clock is going to ask me to stop, so I'll stop here. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Seema ma'am. To summarize what you said, VUCA world काफी volatility है और ये एक नया ऐसा term है जो सबकी vocabulary में जुड़ गया है. And second, universities having online campuses, inter-regional, international, and typically curriculum teaching happening across boundaries. And jahan pe aap discussion ko le gaye, I think that's a very important twist that we can actually take to the discussion, that rather than the student being a taker or a consumer, he should become a giver of knowledge. कहीं ना कहीं बच्चा या जो student है वो भी शिक्षा का दान शुरू कर दे. वो कैसे होगा वो नहीं पता. But the one way that you told was internships. The problem with internships right now is most of the industries, most of the work has gone absolutely virtual. वो कहीं ना कहीं बच्चों को थोड़ी बहुत काम की opportunity दे भी रहा है, because when you look at internship या दूसरे बहुत सारे platforms, तो internships बहुत सारे बच्चों तक पहुंच रही हैं. But the kind of work that they're doing, the kind of skills that they're developing is very limited. उसका scope भी बहुत limited है. So वो scope कैसे बढ़ेगा and उसके अंदर कहाँ पे और options है जो कि introduce किए जा सकते हैं. This is something that we need to understand, and that's where the education and the industry connect becomes very critical. कि how quickly and with how much agility are we mapping the industry to the kind of education that we are delivering? बिकॉज अभी हमारे यहाँ पे ये दोनों चीजें साइलोज में हैं, ये अपने अपने साइलोज में बंद हैं, अपने अपने किलो के अंदर बंद हैं. इंडस्ट्री हैज इट्स ओन अंडरस्टैंडिंग ऑफ थिंग्स एंड एजुकेशन हैज इट्स ओन अंडरस्टैंडिंग ऑफ थिंग्स. ये दोनों आपस में इंटरेक्ट नहीं करते, और अगर करते भी हैं तो केवल इंटरेक्शन पे बात खत्म हो जाती है. How does this finally translate into classrooms? And जहां पे आपने एग्जांपल दिया with some of the good design and engineering colleges या other higher education institutions कि जहां पे अभी भी टीचिंग लेक्चर से हो रही है, उस लेक्चर को खत्म होना होगा और उसे एंगेजमेंट पे या रियल लाइफ सॉल्यूशंस पे जाना होगा. We all need to now understand कि कहीं ना कहीं the core purpose of all this effort that we take is solving problems, and when we teach, we do not make them solve problems. So thank you so much, Seema ma'am. Let me invite the next speaker for today. Mr. Anand Kumar, the Vice Principal of Khetan Public School from Ghaziabad, Uttar Pradesh. Anand ji, over to you for the next 3 minutes. Please unmute your audio, and a very warm welcome.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, Seema ma'am. It was really a wonderful thoughts which you have shared. According to me, as a person in education sector, I feel there are a complete, a gray world. You rightly said when you were talking about the higher education are not connected with the industrial sector, where we expect from them to just prepare the child for the economic earner. At the same time, the kind of expectation the higher education is going to expect from the school education, they had a complete drift. A child who passed out from the school and when they enter first day or second day or first week in the university for undergraduate program, they have completely lost. Even within the school time, when the child moved from grade 9 to middle school to the senior school and senior school to senior secondary school, again there is a loss. So all these things are there and there is a need to connect with all of them. Look, in 80s and 90s we were very much aware that education is only one sector which can help the problems of all. It will provide you the job, it will provide you good life, it will provide you social status, everything. But in 21st century it is not going to help like that. I'm not going to criticize the education system or the content. I'm just simply saying that the education sector has been overburdened with the so many expectations. That's true. It's a key miles. But let me share it. Also discuss without the development of human brains, without the development of social skills, and here whenever I'm talking about social skill, this is completely leading toward more than the discipline related to emotional intelligence. It is more than the spirituality. Somewhere between the emotional intelligence and spirituality, I feel the power of self or the strength of self should also be inculcated at the all level of education. Either it's a primary education, secondary, middle, and all the things. And that is the core factor which can help our children to fight, to get ready and fight for the kind of concerns which they are going to face it in their own world. Again, as per the fourth industrial revolution, Sanjay sir has rightly said that the condition is very, very volatile. And that time after 2025, we don't know what will be the situation after that. So what are the basic ingredient which can inculcate in the child, even in the entire education process, which will sustain, and that is the strength of sustainability in all worst condition. You name it anything, any fashionable term, but that is one of the very, very ingredient, most important ingredient, which we have to keep apart from developing the soft skill, apart from developing the global citizenship skill, digital literacy, and so on. So this is my take that the most important ingredient which has to be there throughout the education life, that is the strength of self, and how it can be developed, that the educationist has to think upon it and then work accordingly in the education sector. It will help the child in coming future for their future preparation. This is from my end. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Anand sir. To summarize what you said, preparing the child to just be an earner. Just some days back, we had a discussion on education for employment or education for empowerment. कि हम सशक्तिकरण के लिए शिक्षा दे रहे हैं या हम केवल एक नौकरी के लिए शिक्षा दे रहे हैं. Why are we teaching? What's the purpose of it? उसे कहीं ना कहीं हमें थोड़ा और ज़्यादा we'll have to delve deeper into it. And I think if you go into Greek mythology, तो आपको वहाँ यही you typically identify with this कि we all need people to become philosophers. क्योंकि जब तक वो philosopher नहीं हो जाएगा, वो शायद emotional intelligence और spirituality की बीच की वो जगह ढूंढ नहीं पाएगा. वो जो sweet spot की आनंद जी बात कर रहे हैं, that sweet spot is being a philosopher, and I think that's where we're all, we can say that yes, we have arrived. onto the right place and we are on that spot or doing it spot on. Building the strength of the individual. हर बच्चे को कहीं ना कहीं इस तरीके से डेवलप करना that he understand that intuitive learning or the manan factor of things is more critical than the content factor of things is something that we need to focus on. So thank you so much, Anandji. Let me invite the next speaker for today, Mrs. Indu Sharma, the principal of Sundardeep World School from Ghaziabad, Uttar Pradesh. Indu ma'am, over to you for the next 3 minutes. Please unmute your audio in a very warm way.
Thank you. Am I audible? A very good evening to all the distinguished guests present here. And thanks a lot, Mr. Daksh, for providing me this platform. Coming to the topic quickly. Changing expectations from higher education. Let's first of all discuss or define what do we mean by higher education? Is it class 11 and 12 or beyond that? In any case, both of these, in both the cases, even if it's class 11 and 12 as higher and beyond that, undergraduate or postgraduate courses beyond that, they both, everything needs little revamp, as none of the courses, as we have already discussed, all my seniors and all my previous speakers, they have discussed that none of the courses ensure any professional security. Forget about professional security. These courses don't even enrich the students academically so well that they can face the outer world. 40 years ago, being a graduate was a very big thing. It was a mean to ensure job. As you said, being a graduate was a big thing in the society. But today, our basic, simple graduates cannot ensure a professional security for themselves. So we need to revamp and we need to work on our education system. And luckily, we have now NEP 2020, which is working in that direction, which is taking us towards that direction. So we all need to think where we need to change. And let's discuss that it's really been a long time that any Indian has achieved any Nobel Prize or any other academic or technical prize at international platform by staying in India. Yes, Indians have received, Mr. Banerjee, but that was outside India. So that gives us one point that those nations are providing better platforms for research and academic enhancements. We need to work there as well. And it's not only about technical and academic. If you come to our entertainment industry, even Bollywood, we have seen the creative skills have gone down. Most of the movies and songs are the remakes of the old movies and remixes of the old song. So that means not only focusing on the academic or technical skills, we need to work on the creative skills. So it has to be a multi-skill development atmosphere which we have to give to the children. And we need to, in the schools, we all in our school owners, school leaders in our school give ample platform for the holistic development of the children. We give them many areas to excel in, but that is not enough. That doesn't prepare them to face life outside. Life ready, it doesn't make them life ready. So little more is needed so that apart from focusing on only technical aspects, BTech and other courses, it has to be more of academics, reading, writing, literature.
Indu ma'am, the 3 minutes were over, but we'll again come back to you. So to summarize what you said, courses to ensure jobs. अभी तक education कहीं ना कहीं केवल employment पे focus थी. अब empowerment की तरफ focus करना मजबूरी हो गई because employment अब secured नहीं रह गया. So the only thing that you can secure as a learner is your own capabilities, and you have to, fight every crisis that comes along the way. If we look at the kind of international recognitions जो हमें as an Indian society मिले हैं, वो काफी कम है. Because I think kahin na kahin, as individuals, as systems, as organizations, we have lost empathy. When we even talk of Olympians, unki training ki hum baat kar rahe hote hain, so when we at this moment expect them to get all the accolades across the globe, hum unhe nutrition pura nahi de pa rahe hain, and that's not because of the resources. That's because of we or someone like us somewhere missing on empathy. कहीं ना कहीं हमें वो थोड़ा और ज्यादा एम्पैथेटिक होना पड़ेगा, जो कि हम एज अ सोसाइटी अभी नहीं है. एक बात आपने कही, बॉलीवुड हैज लॉस्ट अ लॉट ऑफ क्रिएटिविटी. यस, वहां का क्रिएटिविटी इंडेक्स इतना टूटा है कि इफ यू राइट नाउ लुक एट मोस्ट ऑफ द ओटीटी प्लेटफॉर्म्स, भले ही आप नेटफ्लिक्स देखें, अमेज़न देखें, a lot of content, a lot of viewership right now is being given or is typically happening around content coming from south of India. साउथ ऑफ इंडिया कंटेंट ज्यादा इंटरेस्टिंग है, ज्यादा एंगेजिंग है, ज्यादा क्रिएटिव है, और इन सारे ओटीटी प्लेटफॉर्म्स की नंबर ये क्लियर कर दिखाते हैं कि बॉलीवुड कहीं ना कहीं छूट गया क्रिएटिविटी में, एंड कंटेंट साउथ इंडिया से बेटर हो गया. जस्ट टू गिव एन एग्जांपल, इवन लैंग्वेज इज नो मोर अ बैरियर फॉर इट. अ सीरीज दैट वाज मेड ऑन अ स्पेनिश स्टोरी, मनी हेस्ट, जो कि शायद सबने अब देख ली होगी, वो लैंग्वेज बैरियर पार करती जा रही है और अभी भी सबसे ज्यादा रेवेन्यू जनरेट करने वाली सीरीज है फॉर नेटफ्लिक्स. सो व्हाट वी नाउ नीड टू अंडरस्टैंड that as a community, as a society, where are we missing? Because इसमें बहुत सारी ऐसी चीजें हैं जो कि बच्चों को स्कूल नहीं सिखा सकता. This is something that he'll learn from the people that he sees around. वो आप कह सकते हैं इनफॉर्मल फॉर्म ऑफ लर्निंग है जो कि कहीं ना कहीं कंस्ट्रिक्ट हो गई है. That's where we also need to work, because schools के पास अब आप केवल एक बच्चे को नहीं पढ़ा रहे, आप पूरी कम्युनिटी को पढ़ा रहे हैं. टीचर्स, बच्चे, पेरेंट्स, उनके फ्रेंड्स, सब जने आपकी क्लासेस में हैं. I think the school is now the epicenter for change for the next phase of the world that we are going to see. So thank you so much, Indu ma'am. Let me invite the next speaker for today, Ms. Manju Gupta, the former head of the school from Kothari International School, Noida. Manju ma'am, over to you for the next 3 minutes. A very warm welcome. Please unmute yourself.
Namaskar, everyone. Namaskar, Daksh. And thank you so much for giving me this opportunity to be with you all. मेरा तो सबसे पूछना भी है और मानना भी है. मैं हिंदी में बात करूंगी और बाइलिंगुअल हो जाऊंगी. और मुझे दक्ष की ये बात बहुत अच्छी लगी कि उन्होंने वो दोनों भाषाओं में बोलते हैं, क्योंकि हमारे देश में जो एक सबसे बड़ा भ्रम है दैट अंग्रेजी में बोले तो पढ़े लिखे और नहीं बोले, और हम सब की आदत अंग्रेजी में बोलने की इतनी ज्यादा हो गई है कि मैं कोशिश कर रही हूँ कि एनईपी के आने से पहले हम सब हिंदी में बोलते हो जाएं. सो उस बात का ध्यान रखते हुए मैं एजुकेशन, हायर एजुकेशन हो या सेकेंडरी एजुकेशन हो, प्राइमरी एजुकेशन हो, एजुकेशन के जो 4 पिलर्स हैं और उसमें से जो मुझे जो सबसे ज्यादा जरूरत लगती है, हम हमारी यूनिवर्सिटीज और हमारी यूनिवर्सिटीज एंड स्कूल्स लर्निंग टू बी सिखा दें. मैं हूँ, जैसे हूँ, जैसा बोलती हूँ, जैसा करती हूँ, मैं हूँ. आई एग्जिस्ट. And so if that confidence is given to the children and taken away that fear that of creating, like, you know, what will others do, say and do about me? Well, if I am able to come out of that and existence, I exist. So learning to be that I exist, इस पर अगर emphasis चाहे तो वो universities की हो या schools की हो बन जाए तो बहुत अच्छा हो जाएगा. Second is, if teacher quality improves in higher education. I still remember, मैं जब ये मुझे बोलने के लिए कहा गया तो मैंने सोचा हमने जब पढ़ा था और आज क्या बदल जाना चाहिए. हमारे ज़माने में I was gold medalist, लेकिन उसके बावजूद मैंने जो पढ़ाई की या जो सीखा है, जिंदगी सीखी है, वो स्कूल में पढ़ाते हुए सीखी. So how do we teach our children while they are learning, whether higher education? I'm talking of higher education. Third is what I would like Daksh and everybody to think about, and I really loved that Baatcheet, Chintan and Manan. That's very, very important. And education for empowerment has to be the empowerment. I am not putting in employment. वो तो अपने आप हो ही जाएगा. That will be a byproduct. If I'm empowered, I will be able to perform. The next is, I would say, is accepting themselves. And can you create innovators and creators in a university? My previous speaker said, किसी को वो नहीं मिला अभी तक, अपने यहाँ से नोबेल प्राइज नहीं मिला, या अब ग्रैमी अवार्ड्स भी नहीं मिले अगर हम इंडस्ट्री, या हमारे यहाँ से ना म्यूजिक में मिला, ना फिल्म्स में मिला, ना बुक्स में मिला. So right is the creativity is missing somewhere in our education system. So can we bring in creativity in them, in our students? And for that the teachers have to be creative. And do we see teachers writing of that order, highest order? The next would be collaboration amongst all. The schools must collaborate, the schools and industry. I'm talking of higher education schools. So higher education schools and industry must collaborate. Higher education institutes must collaborate.
Thank you, Manju ma'am. The 3 minutes were over. To summarize what you said, आपने कुछ बहुत important points बोले. And I think where you started from, that's where our core belief lies in, कि भाषा कभी भी ज्ञान का पैमाना नहीं होता. Language is never the measurement of your intellect. and nor of your innovation or your ideation. इसलिए भाषा एक enabler है, उसको शायद उतना ही रहने देना चाहिए, उससे बड़ा भाषा को ना किया जाए, because हम भाषा के साथ इमोशनल हो जाते हैं, and उसके साथ में हम ये भूल जाते हैं कि वो इमोशन किसी ह्यूमन का है, वो ह्यूमन छोटा हो जाता है, इमोशन बड़ा हो जाता है, और भाषा की ईगो उससे और बड़ी हो जाती है. And I think that has to be broken at every level so that we, जिस बात को आपने कहा, that learning and understanding to be myself, to be yourself, the first thing that you need is pride in everything that you do and the way you are. Universities should teach learning to be, जैसा आपने अपना experience बताया, from a gold medalist to finally learning life while working, not while studying and getting that gold medal. कहीं ना कहीं वो academic accolade जो है, उसकी credibility भी अपने आप में challenge कर देता है, not because of the achievement it is, but because there was a lot that was to be learned even after that. Can we create innovators in a university? I think this is a very important question. Just I think we would need some closing thoughts from Mike. When we want to create an innovator, what are the components that you'll be teaching them? This is not entrepreneurship. This is innovation. This is not research, just research-driven, understanding or research-driven studies. When you want to create an innovator, the first element that we think, I could be absolutely wrong with it, that comes into play is, are you happy with the way you are? Because once as an individual you are happy with things, only then you can think of changing, challenging, or even trying to tweak the status quo. So let's now hear the closing thoughts from Mike on, can we really create an innovator in a university, or this is something that's out of the curriculum, or as we all say, ये मेरे syllabus में नहीं है, ये syllabus के बाहर है. So let's talk to Mike on his closing thoughts before we go into the open floor. Mike, over to you for the next 3 minutes. Please unmute your audio.
Thank you very much indeed. Let me just say, first of all, I have to say this. Every time I join in one of these conversations, I am gobsmacked. Excuse my expression. And my colleagues in India are wonderful. You really are. There's so much wisdom I have just heard. And all things we should have the best education system in the world in India because of you people. You're brilliant. But let me just come back to this whole thing about innovators, people that are entrepreneurial, etc., etc. We've got to come back to the basic problem. The basic problem that is that at the time of the Industrial Revolution in the 1850s or whatever, when the powers that wanted to conquer the world set up education systems, they set up education systems to control the populace. We wanted soldiers. Who wants to go and get shot? We wanted miners. Who wants to go in underground and spend 16 hours a day in coal dust? But that's what the industrialists, that's what the powerful nations wanted, and so that's what they did. And to do that, they set up a system of education that just stifled creativity. Many years back, NASA did a study on creativity. They spent crores on it, crores and crores. And when NASA does something, they do it properly. Why creativity? Because creativity is the rocket fuel of NASA. NASA lives on ideas. And it showed in this study, and it's Dr. George Land. If you want to check it up, it's on YouTube. Dr. George Land, NASA creativity. Kids at the age of 5, all of us at the age of 5, had 98% creativity. Throw them into the system in most countries in the world. And by the time that they get to the age of 12, we've reduced their creativity to 30%. And by the time they get to the age of 16 to 18, when they're defining their futures, their creativity is 12%. NASA spent a lot of money on this. It's an absolute pucker study. So what we have to do, whenever there's a failure, and even with great minds like yours, there are going to be failures. The failure comes because of the original system. So we have to get that creative juice back in quickly. And then just coming on one other thing, design thinking, that's cliched, but critical thinking. It's 3 things: an empathetic understanding of a problem, creativity to find the solutions to those problems, and the power of process and reason to use the solutions in the right place. We've got to do that. The great benefit you have in India, we have in India, is that our students are massively creative. Creativity is in the Indian DNA. It was there thousands of years before England was a concept, before America was a concept. And we really, really just need to get in there and do it and succeed. And we'll have plenty of innovation, plenty of it. Okay.
Thank you so much, Mike. And I think you said it very rightly that education was established to control. And I would like to quote something that comes from the Greek mythology of that text written by Plato in the Republic, that there's a difference between democracy and demagoguery. In demagoguery, you normally elect the sweet seller. In democracy, you elect the doctor. And normally, we elect the sweet seller because democracy is only good when the education within that democracy works. And if you see, globally, education is always controlled by governments across the world, even when we talk of democracies and try to nurture them. And that's where we all need to understand that at the end of it, the way Anandji actually told it, education is overburdened with expectation. I think it will always be overburdened because that's the only critical element that can change everything. And I think that's where innovation, creativity, everything will finally fall into place. So the next 4 to 5 minutes is an open floor. If you got muted, if you want to say something, if there's something that you want to still add in the discussion, you can unmute yourself and put it out there. Just try to be accommodative of each other so that everyone can get a little bit of time. You can unmute and start off.
I would just like to add 2 things. I think that all innovators must be introspective learners. That is very, very important. They should view collaboration not as a challenge, but as an opportunity, something that we need to transact through our curriculum also. And they need to be change managers. They need to have the resilience, because even when Thomas Edison thought of a bulb, that idea was laughed at. So we need to have that resilience to have to think of off-the-cuff ideas and then to navigate them through all the opposition that you must be facing. Thank you so much.
Introspective learners, and when we talk of Edison, तो शायद हमें वो भी ध्यान रखना चाहिए उनके साथ में a story of Tesla also comes along the way. वो उन्हीं के यहाँ पे एक intern थे, but investment कहीं ना कहीं stifle कर गया, and that's why till date the biggest shareholder in General Electric is JP Morgan, क्योंकि investor ने पैसा कहीं और लगा दिया, so the innovation of Tesla went off. But that atmosphere, that culture has to be upheld, that anybody can innovate at every stage. They innovate. I think Meenakshi ma'am wants to add something. Ma'am, over to you.
I think, particularly I'm going by what Mike just said. When we look at the Indian context, we have to be very proud of ourselves because our roots are very strong. Our values are very strong. Our education system used to be amazing. And unfortunately, just trying to copy the ways, the West, we've lost it all. And I think it's time that we came back to our roots. We started taking pride in as I say, in the color of my skin and my hair and my size of the body and the shape of the body to begin with. And then definitely our philosophy, our culture, the strength of it, in COVID times, how we dealt with COVID. So all this, we have so much to draw on within our country. And one point that I want to add on here, just like we tell children that marks are not very important, I sincerely believe that all these international awards are not important. So whether it's a Nobel Prize, because these are all sold off, we know it all. That, how these are rigged. We have the best of the musicians. We don't need a Grammy or an Emmy from anybody to know that we have them, So just like we tell the children, marks are not important, because I know as a principal, when I started as a principal, I would get all these offers, you can get, we want to give you an award. And at the end of the conversation would be, but you have to write a check of 25,000. I said, sir, thank you so much. I don't need such an award. So we don't need this. Our country has a lot. We just need to learn to tap it.
Right. And I think the core of it is from external validation, transition yourself to internal validation.
Absolutely.
Number nahi chahiye. Apna certification khud kar lijiye. Believe in the self-driven growth or self-driven development of things. I think Manju wants to add, ma'am.
Yes. I am just 2 words, and that is, can we create the higher education institution like Takshila and Nalanda? And that's what my dream is, that in this lifetime, if I can see such innovations in education happening on the soil of India, we will.
Amen. Amen.
Absolutely. एक तक्षशिला या वापस से नालंदा खड़ा हो जाए तो शायद कोई चाणक्य वापस से आ जाएगा और चंद्रगुप्त वापस से इंडिया को रीइमेजिन कर लेगा, because That's where the typical concept of our country comes from कि हम क्या सोचते हैं या एक देश को हम कैसे समझते हैं कि जब एक शिक्षण संस्था से एक फिलोसोफर राजा निकल जाए, so that is the typical success story or the Ram Raj that we define in India or the perfect democracy that the Greeks define. That's where we find the solace as a society. I think Sanjay ji wants to speak something. Sanjay ji, over to you.
Looking at all the wonderful deliberations, I only have one line submission, I should say. The future is already here. It's not evenly distributed the way at the moment it is looking like. So let us ride the wave of our own emotional strength on AI and take it to the next generation. That is where the future is going to lie.
So our emotional strength finally riding on the genie of AI and trying to reach the palace of Aladdin to achieve the dream. So Anand ji wanted to add something. Anand ji.
And adding with the thought process of Manju ma'am, NEP के आने से पहले हम हिंदी में बोलना सीख जाएं. मैम हिंदी हमें खुद आती है, वो हमारे जीन में है. Yes, I would like to share one thing. I'm a student of history, and you know, Mr. Daksh, जब हमने अपने आध्यात्म में वैदिक एरा की बात करता हूँ या धर्मशास्त्र एरा की बात करता हूँ, जब हमने एजुकेशन को सोशल वेलफेयर के साथ कनेक्ट किया, हमारा ग्रोथ था. आप देखोगे कि 6th सेंचुरी के बाद ऐसा क्या हुआ कि वो सब कुछ डैमेज हो गया. हमने एजुकेशन को ना लीनियंट बनाना शुरू कर दिया. ज्ञान एकांगिक जब होगा तो उसका विनाश होना है. ज्ञान ये समाज का एक अंग है और जो ज्ञान समाज के साथ कनेक्ट होकर रहेगा उसी का विकास होगा. यहां कोई कंट्रडिक्शन नहीं है कि वेस्टर्न थॉट क्या कहता है, इंडियन थॉट क्या कहता है. यहां पाश्चात्य दर्शन और पूर्व दर्शन में कोई डिफरेंसेस या कोलैप्स नहीं है. वो जहां पर अगर आप वेस्टर्न वर्ल्ड की बात करो तो इंडस्ट्रियल रिवॉल्यूशन में क्या होता है कि बहुत लार्ज लेवल पे लोगों का भला होता है, जिसको बाद में हमने अडॉप्ट कर लिया. हमारे पास 19th सेंचुरी में इतने डिस्ट्रक्शंस हुए 1000 सालों से, हम उस पोजीशन में भी नहीं रह गए कि हमें अपनी बेसिक नीड्स पूरी करनी, फुलफिल कर पाए. आज उस पोजीशन में देश खड़ा है जहां पे हमारी सेल्फ सफिशिएंसी सफिशिएंट है. नाउ वी नीड टू थिंक, और मुझे लगता है कि इमोशनल इंटेलिजेंसी इज द की, नो डाउट. लेकिन एक जो बड़ी अच्छी बात मुझे हमेशा से मिलती है, डिजाइन थिंकिंग अप्रोच. हो सकता है कि हमारे इंडियन दर्शन में कहीं पर हो, जरूर होगा, लेकिन अगर हम प्रॉब्लम टेकिंग इश्यूज को लेते हैं और उसके ऊपर चिंतन मनन के लेवल तक जाते हैं, इनोवेशन वहां क्रिएट होगा. And when the innovation will create, then country is going to rock. Not country, I'm talking. The whole human being will start rocking. That's all my concluding line.
Absolutely. आप जो कह रहे हैं वो शायद इंडियन दर्शन में ऑलरेडी है, जिसको हम कहीं ना कहीं अहम ब्रह्मास्मि कहते हैं कि आप जब इंटरनलाइज हो जाते हैं तो अपने आप सारे सॉल्यूशंस निकाल देंगे. लर्निंग आपको बाहर से अंदर नहीं, वो अंदर से.
अहम ब्रह्मास्मि का कॉन्सेप्ट भी यही है. And this was the process which was given for Ravan. अहम ब्रह्मास्मि, मैं ही ब्रह्म हूँ. Great.
Absolutely. So I think Seema ma'am wants to add. Ma'am, please unmute yourself.
एक तरह की स्पिन यान हो रही है, हम सब एक के साथ जोड़ते जा रहे हैं. आनंद जी की बात को ही आगे ले जाते हैं. बट यस, कहाँ छूट गया, आनंद जी कह रहे थे कि कहाँ छूट गया. तो आई थिंक इनिशियली एक टाइम आ गया कि हम एजुकेशन में वी स्टार्टेड चूजिंग सब्जेक्ट्स दैट वर यूजफुल सब्जेक्ट्स दैट वुड गेट अस अ गुड जॉब, एंड वी डिड नॉट चूज subjects that we enjoyed, we loved. अगर कोई बच्चा, there were so many children, 35 years experience में इतना बच्चा है जो राइटर बनना चाहता था या पेंटर बनना चाहता था. पेरेंट्स ने कहा ना ना ना, भूखे मर जाओगे. या इवन शेफ बनना चाहता था. टुडे शेफ्स आर इन, बट शेफ बनना चाहता है, अरे बावर्ची बनेगा, अरे. या फोटोग्राफर बनना चाहता है. पेरेंट्स डू नॉट इनकरेज. तो बच्चे यूजफुल सब्जेक्ट्स ही पढ़ते रहे और हमारी जनरेशन ने यही किया जो हमें जॉब देगा. बट टुडे आई थिंक the need is for children to learn as per their passion, pick subjects accordingly. और ये भी एक higher education से expectation है कि इतना bouquet of इतने electives की choices हो that children can pick whatever, ताकि वो अपने आप को पसंद तभी करेंगे ना जब वो ही educate हो, पढ़ेंगे जो उनको अच्छा लगता है. So that I think is probably the way to go. और NEP ने ये रास्ता खोला है. उन्होंने हमारे को 2-3 ऑप्शंस, एक तो हो गया इलेक्टिव्स में कोई रोक टोक नहीं है, तुम फिजिक्स के साथ म्यूजिक पढ़ो, पेंटिंग पढ़ो, नो प्रॉब्लम. अगर ये जब साकार हो जाए, जब, तो अभी तो प्लान है, इंप्लीमेंट हो जाए, वंडरफुल आइडिया. So that opportunity, उसके अलावा multiple exit and entry points जो बना दिए हैं कि academic bank होगा, तो तुम पढ़ो एक साल फिर सोचा ना this is not what I want to do. I will go to the job place, I will work and I will come back and maybe continue my studies. तो इस तरह की flexibility I think might bring the good times back और मंजू को अपना नालंदा और तक्षशिला मिल जाएगा.
Absolutely. Flexibility and most importantly वो बच्चे को जगह दे पाना कि if you have a passion, if you want to do something in life, we will enable rather than restriction कि हम आपको नहीं साहब ये इलेक्टिव के आगे आप नहीं सोचेंगे, आप इस रेड टेपिज्म के बियॉन्ड नहीं जाएंगे. So this is something that was to be worked on. NEP ने किया है, but again the problem with India always has been amazing policies and the execution elephant not moving not at all. और अभी भी अगर हम बात करें तो जो NEP that we have right now, the first student who actually comes out with the benefits of NEP will be in 2040. तो ये हमारे लिए सच में एक भविष्य है कि NEP on ground पहुंच जाए. Indu ma'am wants to add something, ma'am, please.
Yeah, continuing with what Seema ma'am said, that our education and our higher education particularly was focused on getting job. I think, ma'am, somewhere we all will agree that was a British point of view, that they were developing or nurturing Indians in that way that they can get only into LDC, UDC positions that time. So now, well, once we are a self-sufficient country, now we are almost a developed country, if we don't count the parameters. So we can allow our children to choose the careers of their own choice. So we were restricted at that point of time, especially during our parents' time, that you have to do only those selective jobs. So now we are opening up, and I think forum like these and many other things, NEP, will help us to evolve further. So that's it.
Right. हमें शायद, I think the way Mike gave that expression was very simple, that our perception was broken, and it was broken systematically, so that we think in a particular manner. And अब जब हम वापस से सोचने लगे हैं, from the journey from being a developing country to a developed one is just in the perception of it. Numbers उसके साथ follow कर जाते हैं normally, because that's if you look at the evolution of the US, how did it happen? वो ऐसा तो था नहीं कि सबसे बड़ा industrial revolution हो के सब कुछ वहाँ बन गया, but it was the thought process of it, the way people led, the kind of perception they had about themselves and about the nation. So I think we have listened to all of you. बहुत amazing points इसमें से बाहर निकले कि I think Mike wants to add. Mike, unmute yourself, please.
Okay, just I had to come in on this one. I'm sorry. When people talk to me about India as a developing country, India is not a developing country. India is a country going through a renaissance. When you talked about Nalanda and those wonderful, those temples of great education, let's get them back. Let's get them back. And then one of our biggest problems, and again, everybody said it, what they said, you know, it was always my big problem when I started, whatever I did, in terms of education. And parents saying, why are we going to sort of do this creativity stuff? You don't need it. You need to be a doctor. You need to be a lawyer. We need to re-establish the position of creativity. And if you look at somewhere like Nalanda, that was creativity, it's pure. Absolutely in every form, music, astronomy, pottery, it doesn't matter what it was brilliant. Just a little thought. And I'd love it if you wrote to me about this. I mean, you can get my email address, whatever. Could you imagine that the next cryptocurrency, the next NFT was creativity? If you gold standard, something you dig out the ground, dollar standard, Medici, yeah? The next really rich currency is human creativity. Just imagine that. And that one thing that means about that, it's a long conversation. But one thing it means that every child is born with the potential to be extremely rich. It doesn't matter where they're born. It doesn't matter what their creed, color, how much cash their parents have got or haven't got. And I actually believe, and I've again had some conversations with some very, very inspiring people, I think we can do this. But to do it, we need your support.
Creativity as a currency. I think this is a conversation that should last a lot and much more than just this conversation. But thank you so much, everybody. And I think it's a very amazing closing thought that creativity as a currency, it's something that we cannot carry with ourselves. So before this call comes to an end, let me go to the simple idea of the concept where Blub World simply found its genesis. And which was this very thing, that creativity as currency, let's promote creativity. And the way to do it was not to teach, was to invoke. And when we want to invoke something, the easiest way that humans have is to inspire. And when we want to inspire, we need stories. and we had stories that were too old. And that's where we started our work to create stories that children could relate to. And that's where the idea of teens inspiring teens came into existence, and we came into existence. So one such story of one such teenager for all of you before this call comes to an end. This is a girl who lives in the US, is an amazing surfer. Her mother had the habit of making candy at home. She also started making some, and right now she earns in millions, lives in the US, surfs a lot, does not study a lot, but her candy is available across the biggest retail chain in the world. You'll find her candy across all the Walmarts in the US, and that girl is the candypreneur, or Elena Moss, who was on the cover page of Love World just some months back. So that's what we do every month, trying to find a teen who's doing amazingly well in life and sharing their story with many more teens. Around a year back, we tried to work on an aspiration to build the world's biggest and the world's first Parliament of Teenagers. We are right now inviting all of you to become a part of the World Teen Parliament. The UNESCO's New Delhi office and the UNESCO Mahatma Gandhi Institute are an official partner with the World Teen Parliament. You're all invited to invite every single teenager that if he has a solution that can change the World Teen Parliament will fund his idea. Let him achieve the potential in whatever he's doing, and let him finally regain his perceptive confidence and his own perception of himself. Thank you so much, everybody, for being a part of the Blub World Web Talks 144th episode. If you enjoyed, and if you want it in the future sessions, you can open your audio, say a big yes, and thank you so much for participating. Thank you, people.
Yes, of course.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you. Thank you, Daksha.
Very inspiring. Thank you.
Of course,
Take care.
Thank you
so much.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank
you.
you. Thank you so much.
Bye, everyone.
Bye-bye.
Thank you, everybody. Nice meeting all of you.